Hello everyone. So in this video I'd like to talk about a few changes and updates I've done to the truck since my last video. And I'll just start here with the battery. I got some 3S Lipos for this. So now I'm running the truck to its full potential and getting more speed and torque out of it. And surprisingly the ESC can actually handle this along with the motor. I actually didn't know it was 3S capable until I looked it up. So the second thing you'll notice is I got this Savox coreless 4096 digital servo, and the reason for that is the old one completely got destroyed. I took it apart and it turns out the one plastic gear in the entire thing was completely stripped flat. So yeah, there's still a plastic gear even though the servo says metal gear on it, and that was the one thing that gave out. So yeah, I replaced it with this. This is a full metal gear servo. So now my entire drive line is complete metal. I have the truck on. So there's a servo, which is a nice servo now. And then there's the horn, and the links are titanium. So now basically the whole servo line is completely beefed up, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. The next thing I did was I added this small modification to the shifting servo, and I'll show you. Basically what it does is it allows the shifting servo to extend farther, and that way it doesn't. So in my first video about the transmission, you saw that the servo would occasionally get stuck, and this little mod allows it to go farther, and the springs put constant tension on it, so that way it pushes it into position as soon as the drive line, or like the gear in there, catches up and it's able to lock in place. And to do that, I took a small rod and then bent it around, screwed it straight into the mount that was on the transmission, and then got this piece of metal, drilled a hole through it for the rod to go through, and then screwed it in from the back. And yeah, it holds there and it works completely well. So yeah, there's that. And the next thing I did was I put on MIP Driveshafts front and rear. So I wanted to do this one for a while, except the problem was I didn't know which drive shafts to get, and I finally was able to measure them out after doing some research online. And I got the MIP dig kit, which is for a dig transmission, and it just so happens that it also fits this 2-speed transmission. As you can see, the rear barely fits as it's extending pretty long, but if it were to extend any farther, it wouldn't be holding enough, but according to MIP, this is enough. Apparently you need about 3/8 inches is what I heard. So yeah, there's that, and this fits and it works great. The one thing I did have to do, or two things. The first thing, I had to buy some new pins because they didn't come with a drive shaft, and the stock ones are too small, these set pins. These are the Axial ones. I think they're for the Yeti or the Exoterra. I'm not sure. They're M4, and they fit perfectly in there. You can also use the MIP ones. I also got the Traxxas ones, but they were slightly too long, and I didn't feel like cutting them down because I didn't want to mess up the screw part. But they did fit for the front and rear. But the reason why I couldn't use the Traxxas ones is because, as you can see here, where the one next to the transmission, if I can get the camera in there, the gear cover on the transmission is actually extremely close to touching the drive shaft. I took it off, and basically what I did was I used a Dremel and slowly sanded pieces off until it fit perfectly on there, and it's actually not touching the drive shaft, it's just barely clearing. And somehow I didn't drill a hole through the gear cover, So the gear cover is perfectly intact. It just has a lot of plastic shaved off from it than it did before. So yeah, that actually fits. It took me about like 10 minutes to do that. So finally, I'd like to update the shocks with the O-rings I put in the last video. These are working great now. I've had 0 leaks since the last video on these, and I think for sure I've definitely fixed them. So yeah, thanks for watching, like and subscribe. See you next time.